I need to tell you the truth. 5 words. That's all Mia Richardson managed to type before her phone went silent forever. By midnight, her car sat empty in Whatcom Falls Park. Engine cold, door hanging open, phone shattered on the pavement. Anthony Holloway waited 3 hours for her to come home. She never did. Anthony found Mia's silver Honda at midnight, keys in the ignition, her destroyed phone on the ground beside it. He called 911 at 12:47 a.m. By dawn, his parents Derek and Lauren arrived at the police station. His father Derek seemed especially focused, asking detailed questions, organizing search parties, taking charge. Lauren noticed something odd in her husband's intensity, not panic, control, like he was managing the situation before it got away from him. Detective Marissa Scott examined Mia's phone, sensing something off about the stage scene. And somewhere in those woods, Mia Richardson wasn't answering anyone's calls. When someone you love disappears, you trust the people helping you search. But what if one of them already knows exactly where to look? Welcome to Compass True Crime Stories. Kindly support and encourage us by subscribing to this channel as we continue to keep you entertained, new true crime stories around the world on a daily basis. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our next interesting and chilling true crime story. Derek Holloway's marriage was dying quietly. His wife Lauren worked 60-hour weeks as a high school principal. Most nights, Derek ate dinner alone in their empty house. At 43, he felt invisible. Then Anthony brought Mia home for a family barbecue. She was 20, brilliant, passionate about environmental conservation. When she laughed at Derek's jokes, something awakened in him he'd forgotten existed. It wasn't love at first sight. It was recognition of what he'd lost. Derek started showing up at the coffee shop where Mia worked. Didn't know you worked here. Just needed a change of scenery. The coincidences multiplied. He'd offer rides when her car broke down, text to check on her, find reasons to be alone with her. Mia felt flattered. An older, successful man seeing her as more than just his son's college girlfriend. She told herself it was harmless. 3 weeks in, Derek showed up at her apartment. He'd been drinking, claimed he and Lauren had fought. You make me feel young again, Mia. Like life still has possibility. Mia tried to redirect. Derek, you're Anthony's father. He kissed her, and after one frozen moment, she kissed him back. They met in secret for 6 weeks. Hotels in Everett. Derek's office after hours. A rental cabin outside town. Derek love-bombed her with attention, gifts, promises. Leave Anthony. I'll leave Lauren. We'll figure it out together. Anthony started noticing Mia pulling away. Canceled dates, distant conversations, her phone always face down. He confided in his mother. I think Mia's pulling away. Lauren reassured him it was just relationship growing pains. Meanwhile, Derek grew possessive, demanding. The charming man became controlling. You're mine, Mia. You need to accept that. Then Mia discovered she was pregnant. She didn't know whose baby it was. We need to talk. The cabin. Tonight. This has to end. Derek read the message, his jaw tightening. Mia drove to the cabin with one goal: end the affair and confess everything to Anthony. Derek was waiting, cold and controlled. Derek, I can't do this anymore. I'm telling Anthony everything. No, you're not. I don't need your permission. You think you can just walk away after what we've done? What you did. You pursued me. You manipulated me. I gave you everything. Attention Anthony could never give you. He's your son, and I might be pregnant. Derek's face changed, rage mixed with panic. If you tell Anthony I lose everything, my family, my reputation, my career. You should have thought about that before. Mia reached for her phone to call Anthony. Derek saw her hand move toward it. Something snapped. Put the phone down, Mia. Derek, you're scaring me. If you tell him, I have nothing left. Mia ran for the door. Derek grabbed the fire poker from beside the fireplace and swung. The first blow hit her shoulder. She screamed, falling to her knees. She tried to crawl away. Derek struck again, and again, 7 times total. When it was over, Mia Richardson lay motionless on the cabin floor. Derek stood over her body, breathing heavily, the poker clattering from his hands. What have I done? What have I done? Panic drove Derek's next moves. He wrapped Mia's body in a tarp, loaded it into his truck, drove deep into the woods and buried her in a shallow grave. Then he drove her car to Whatcom Falls Park, smashed her phone, staged an abduction. By 3 a.m., he crawled into bed beside Lauren. Where were you? Couldn't sleep, went for a drive. The next morning, Derek helped his son organize search parties for the girlfriend he'd murdered 12 hours earlier. Detective Scott recovered Mia's cloud data, text messages to an unknown number, intimate, explicit, meeting locations, the last message. We need to talk. Tonight. The cabin. This has to end. Scott traced the burner phone's cell tower data. It pinged repeatedly at the Holloway residence. Derek's credit card showed hotel charges in Everett, flower deliveries to Mia's apartment, dinner receipts for two. The puzzle pieces were forming a damning picture. Scott brought Anthony in for questioning. We have evidence Mia was involved with someone romantically. These messages are explicit. Anthony's face crumbled. That's impossible. Did Mia spend time with your parents? Yeah, my dad was really welcoming. He'd give her rides sometimes. Anthony's voice trailed off as realization dawned. Scott showed him the cell tower data, the hotel receipts, the pattern of meetings. No, my dad wouldn't. But the evidence didn't lie. Police executed a search warrant on the Holloway home. They found blood in Derek's truck bed, soil on his boots matching the area near the cabin. Derek was brought in for questioning. For 6 hours, he stayed silent. Then he heard Anthony's voice through the walls, crying, demanding answers, falling apart. That's when Derek broke. I want to talk. He confessed everything. The affair, the pregnancy, the confrontation, the murder. She was going to tell Anthony. I couldn't let that happen. So I killed her. Blood evidence confirmed Mia's DNA in his truck. Derek Holloway was charged with first-degree murder. Scott found Anthony in the waiting room. We have evidence your father was involved romantically with Mia Richardson, and we believe that on September 23rd, Derek and Mia met at a cabin. Something happened there. Mia didn't survive. Anthony's world shattered. My dad killed my girlfriend. He was sleeping with her, and then he killed her. I brought her to him. This is my fault. That afternoon, search teams found Mia's body buried in the woods behind the cabin. What's worse, discovering your father is a murderer or realizing you introduced him to his victim. The trial consumed the Pacific Northwest. Anthony sat in the front row, 20 pounds lighter, hollow-eyed. Lauren beside him, her career destroyed, divorce filed. Derek entered in handcuffs, aged a decade and 6 months. The prosecutor laid out the case. Derek Holloway pursued Mia, seduced her, and when she found the courage to end it, he murdered her to keep his secret. The defense argued crime of passion, a tragic accident born from desperation. Text messages were read aloud, hotel footage shown, forensic evidence presented, 7 blunt force impacts, defensive wounds, blood in Derek's truck, GPS data placing him at the burial site. Anthony testified through tears. I brought her into his life. I thought he was being a good dad. I was so stupid. Lauren testified, 22 years of marriage, and I didn't know him at all. Derek took the stand against his lawyer's advice. I never wanted anyone to get hurt. She was leaving and I panicked. I grabbed the poker without thinking. By the time I realized what I'd done, she was gone. The prosecutor's cross-examination was brutal. You struck her 7 times. You buried her body. You staged a crime scene. That's not panic, that's calculation. Derek had no answer. After 3 days of deliberation, on the count of first-degree murder, we find the defendant guilty. Derek was sentenced to life without parole for 25 years. Anthony felt nothing. His father was a murderer. His girlfriend was dead. His family no longer existed. Anthony transferred to Chicago, changed his last name to Blake, started therapy. The nightmares still came most nights. Lauren resigned as principal, moved to Seattle, started over in a 1-bedroom apartment. Derek sat in prison, beaten by other inmates, writing letters Anthony never opened. Mia's parents started the Mia Richardson Environmental Scholarship Fund, published a book, helped other families of murder victims. They never spoke to Anthony. Some wounds were too deep. Anthony kept his father's letters in a shoebox, 43 of them now, all unopened. What could he possibly say that would matter? He murdered my girlfriend. But slowly, Anthony was moving forward. New school, new projects, small steps toward believing people could be good again. He created a senior thesis called The Faces We Trust, portraits showing the same face as both trustworthy and dangerous. His professor called it haunting. Anthony called it survival. This story didn't end with justice. Derek Holloway sits in prison, but his victims serve life sentences too. Right now, someone watching this is in a relationship that feels slightly off. You see the red flags, but tell yourself it's not your business. That speaking up would make things awkward. Mia saw the red flags. She knew Derek's attention was inappropriate. By the time she tried to end it, she'd been trapped. You have a voice. You have instincts that exist for a reason. Don't wait until you're giving a statement to police to wish you'd said something sooner. Share this story. Talk about it. Make it uncomfortable. Because comfortable silence is how tragedies like this happen in the first place. Anthony stood on the shore of Lake Michigan, looking at the last photo of Mia, smiling, wind in her hair, eyes bright with life. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you, but I promise I won't let what happened to you be forgotten. He opened his design software and started working on a poster for the Mia Richardson Environmental Scholarship Fund. Derek Holloway had taken her life, but he wouldn't take her impact. In the end, Derek didn't just destroy Mia's life. He destroyed his son's ability to ever trust love again. And that might be the cruelest part of all. Thank you for watching to the end, and see you in our next episode of Compass True Crime Stories. Stay safe.